Until recently, video games have been seen as a frivolous distraction from the real world. Today, however, we are beginning to take games seriously as a medium that impacts not only our leisure time, but all aspects of our daily lives. Indeed, people are even asking if video games might have a direct impact on the formation of our political opinions. This video is one of a series related to the themes of my book, Can the Left Learn to Meme?, out with Zero Books this year. Perhaps no one has done more to highlight the way that culture and the media reinforce a right-wing worldview than the late John Berger, critic, novelist and poet, in his Ways of Seeing, the book and TV series of 1972. The art of any period tends to serve the ideological interest of the ruling class, said Berger, to an unsuspecting British public that was curiously receptive to his anti-elite message. The series had a big impact on British culture. No longer could one look upon, for example, Gainsborough's portrait of Mr. and Mrs. Andrews circa 1750 as a charming depiction of a couple enjoying rural England. On closer inspection, their facial expressions appear sardonic, whilst their position in relation to the land, their land nonetheless, appears to block the viewer from entry. Mr. and Mrs. Andrews are clearly saying, "Keep out," and the painting they commissioned nearly 40 years before the French Revolution is a sign that the ruling elite in Britain were not prepared to share their spoils with the masses. This position has never really changed, and high culture has always been a ruse for keeping the rich rich and the poor poor. Though beyond that, Berger pointed out that the pop culture images that surround us tend to perform much the same role. From magazines to billboards, we are sold a lifestyle and a set of values that in its materialism is broadly right-wing. Fast forward to the late 2010s, and a more media-savvy public is still subject to the media's brainwashing capacities. Though today we might ask, is video gaming a tool of the ruling class? And if so, what can we do about it? Last year, video game and general cultural theorist Alfie Baun published an article with The Guardian asking whether video games are inherently right-wing. The article, entitled How Video Games Are Fueling the Rise of the Far Right, reiterated Baun's theory as set out in his books Enjoying It, Candy Crush and Capitalism from Zero Books and PlayStation Dreamworld from Polity Press. While the Guardian article attracted widespread attention from the gaming community, many of the nuances of Baun's theory were lost. The piece argued that the presence of competition, the fear of aliens and zombies, control of borders and territories, the building of empire, promotion of gender stereotypes and the yearning for a vokish harmony with nature are all elements found in gaming that might arguably promote right-wing political leanings in life outside video gaming. Though aside from the literal right-wing content found in games, the real risk, as theorist Mackenzie Walk argues in Gamer Theory, is less a question of games becoming like reality, but of reality becoming like games. Indeed, with the video gaming industry becoming increasingly focused on the production of ever more absorbing VR and AR video games, the risk of control by corporate or other interests appears to be more than a mere plausibility. In Black Mirror, Series 4, Episode 1, titled USS Callister, Robert Daly, a sociopathic games programmer, traps several of his colleagues in a 3D game modelled on the sci-fi series Star Trek, submitting them to humiliating punishments if they disobey his supreme will.
That can't be.
While Robert's colleagues escape due to the genius of a female programmer, the episode's warning was clear. We face enslavement by the very tech that we created to entertain us. Another more subtle yet highly pervasive way that gaming may come to dominate us revolves around its innate affinity with human psychology, as video games act, Alfie Baun argues, more like dreams than books or movies. In the dream, unlike a book or film, the individual dreamer experiences desires that are often governed by an external force. Indeed, how often do we ever feel in control in our dreams? The risk though with video gaming is that the gamer mistakes, to use the language of Freud and Lacan, the drives and actions brought about by the video game as their own desires. So the tendency to shun and oppress outsiders essential to nationalism might cross over from the will of the gaming character to the game player, which, given the content of many games, is cause for alarm. In short, games operate us more than we operate them. Though whilst appearing to present a limitation in terms of political agency, Bown argues that this offers an opportunity to consider the gamer as a flexible entity. If gamers can be coerced to be right-wing, they can be educated to be left-wing. Indeed, games that challenge rigid power structures while coming to terms with the complexity of political systems are abundant and include directly political titles such as Path Out 2017 and Papers, Please 2013. The former follows the true story of Abdullah Karam, who fled the Syrian conflict as a teenager in 2014, like so many of his peers. The short, free game demonstrates the emotional upheaval and fear experienced as Abdullah puts his life in the hands of strangers, who are often out to con him. The appearance of Abdullah himself via a video window at points during the game helps to reinforce reality and the fact that the player is making life or death decisions.
Like, you would wish that this never happened before.
What's more, while the total range of actions that a player can make are limited to entering rooms, houses, taking and packing objects, paying people at borders, hiding from patrols, etc., the outcomes are variable, and failure, meaning death, can occur in various ways and unexpectedly. In the game Papers, Please, the player assumes the role of an immigration officer controlling the border of a fictional communist state. You are faced with difficult decisions as you have to identify genuine asylum cases and economic migrants among smugglers, spies and terrorists. Its heavy Kafkaesque aesthetic is reflective of the burden the player undertakes as he or she works their way through would-be immigrants and their documentation, stamping their passports as they go, while amassing enough credit to pay rent and provide for their family. Papers, Please highlights the complexity of immigration control and the fact that a country's borders and internal laws are often maintained by poorly paid workers, who are no better off than the poor asylum seekers and economic migrants, genuine or not, that they process. Beyond gaming itself, the activity of a growing number of left-wing gaming streamers and YouTube video makers highlights the capacity for the gaming community to present a left-wing message. Most notably in recent time, Twitch streamer HBomberGuy streamed Nintendo 64's Donkey Kong on and off for more than 57 hours to raise money for Mermaids, a charity that supports transgender minors and their families, making more than $340,000 in the process. Further, as evidence that gaming streaming is becoming ever more important politically, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez made an impromptu appearance on HBomberGuy's stream.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, I'm well. How are you all?
Hello, it's fantastic to meet you.
This down-to-earth gesture demonstrates why so many Democrats wish that Ocasio-Cortez was old enough for the presidential candidacy. Such examples demonstrate how 21st century gaming could be exemplary in shaping our political future. Gamers, it's your turn.